Oh, Elliotte. Praise be to Elliotte Friedman, the CEO of crazy and obnoxious NHL team abbreviations, because man oh man has he given us a scoop here. And ultimately it's a scoop that I don't think a lot of Canadiens fans are going to like particularly, but it is one that we need to dive into and just talk about because it goes over the Montreal Canadiens. And that's always fun, right? The Habs, by the way, are playing off against the Toronto Maple Leafs in about 4 hours. No, 6 hours from this YouTube video's publication, so we'll be paying attention to that. Hopefully we'll have a post-game video to dive into the events of that contest later today. But I wanted to talk about what Friedman spoke about on the 32 Thoughts article from yesterday. This was posted late at night, 10:29 p.m. Freech, go to bed, buddy. But the latest 32 Thoughts dives into Connor McDavid giving the Oilers every chance to win the Stanley Cup. Very self-explanatory what that conversation is about. But I wanted to dive into what Friedman speaks about in regards to Lane Hutson and the Montreal Canadiens, because there is a very detailed update. Take a look at this. Friedman says, I believe that Lane Hutson wanted to sign before the season. I believe that after several false starts, things progressed to a point where a deal was possible. There was signing bonus structure. According to several sources, the Canadiens were slightly below $8 by $9 million, including some deferral for a slight break on the cap hit. As several Montreal reporters have said or written, the organization pitched Hutson's representatives on a Canadian RCA, which many players use to soften this country's tax burden. Hutson's representatives were above the $72 million, not ridiculously, but disagreed philosophically on deferral and the RCA. So, we're at a stalemate until everyone cools down, because there's a lot of disappointment that this did not close. It hasn't changed that the Canadiens like Hutson, and he wants to be there. Now, that is really, really bizarre. We're living in a new age, folks. Like, this is not the kind of thing that we ever would have seen out of an NHL contract negotiation. Heck, even like 4 years ago. Just recently has this entire RCA, money deferral type situational stuff become more mainstream. And as we've been talking about over the past few weeks, maybe it was about time. The MLB has a ton of deferred contracts. It's quite normal over there. The NHL, it's only really started to become a thing as of late. Now, for Lane Hutson, it's very interesting how the Montreal Canadiens wanted to pitch Hutson some sort of extra money on his retirement compensation arrangement. That's what RCA stands for. But Hutson and his party was like, no, we don't want to do that. Like, we don't want to get the money deferred. We don't want to get that paid later. We want to get the money now. Which, of course, isn't really that common of a POV because normally players will take the deferred money, which will be given to them at a later time, or the retirement compensation arrangement, which will be given to them at a later time because it helps them with their taxes. It helps them save money, and they don't have to spend as much sending it over to the CRA. But look at Lane Hutson. What a good guy here. He wants to pay more taxes. Now, I understand. That's not necessarily the reason why him and his representation are saying, yeah, no, we don't want to do deferred payments. Just give us the money now. They're not doing it because they straight up just want to be able to pay more on the taxes. They're doing it because they would prefer for Hutson to get his contract structured in a way where he just gets the money year by year. They don't want to go through any extra hurdles and extra waiting it out. Oh, you got to be retired. Oh, you're going to get all your money at a later date type of stuff. And from Montreal's perspective, they would be interested in doing that because they don't have to spend as much money year by year if they were to go that route. Now, you would still need to spend the money, period, but over the course of 10 years, for example, versus over the course of 8 years, or even waiting a little bit longer once Hutson gets even more money and deferred salary and retirement compensation stuff, it's a little bit less of an immediate upfront thing for the Montreal Canadiens organization as a whole. So it is so bizarre how this contract discussion has gone down because now we're sitting here thinking like, yeah, okay, Hutson wants to stay in Montreal. He's okay to sign somewhere around 9 point something, just under 9.5. Montreal wasn't willing to go that high. They wanted to go out there with sub 9 million, which just sounds absolutely bananas. Like, imagine paying Lane Hutson less than Darnell Nurse. Like, that's the staple contract that everybody's going to go out there and keep on bringing up in this defenseman in the NHL conversation. But if Hutson and Montreal are only apart by like 500,000 bucks, as long as it's 8 years long, I don't care how much you go. Give him 9.5. Give him that Noah Dobson money. Give him what it is that he wants, because that is totally worth it. He's not asking for 12. If he were to get 12, I would honestly understand it. But he doesn't want that. He wants 9 something. Now, you just gotta hope that these negotiations and Montreal pushing the deferred money and the RCA onto Hutson and his party doesn't sour the way Hutson himself views the situation. Maybe it sours the party, maybe it sours the people that represent him, but at the end of the day, if Hutson himself is like, yeah, okay, 9.25, fine, I'm good with that, let's sign it. Then what are you gonna do? You just gotta suck it up and sign it. Obviously, the agents want to maximize the amount of dollars you can get, but this is a player that doesn't look like he's in it to get the biggest amount of bucks that he can on that next deal. And he's even willing to pay more in taxes up front because of it. And as Kent Hughes has been talking about as well in the interviews that he did with Renaud Lavoie and elsewhere, it's not that big of a deal. Like, okay, if Lane Hutson and the Canadiens don't come to an agreement this season, and the guy becomes an RFA in the summer of 2026, then that's fine. The Canadiens still have him under control. The worry is, though, if Lane Hutson gets 80 points in 25-26, then all of a sudden, he's not going to be comfortable with sub 9.5 anymore. He's going to want 10, 10.5, 11. What's Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar going to make soon? Those guys are going to set the mark at 15+ million a year. And if Hutson is able to say that he's in that territory, then he could hold out for, let's say, 13. There are enough factors for Hutson to set himself up with a huge money deal as long as he's able to continuously be as effective as he has been. But right now, if he's okay to be with 9.25 or something, 9.4, if he himself wanted to sign before the season, then obviously things gone down a pretty rough path where now it's very emotional and both sides are kind of butthurt and nobody really wants to take the next step. Of course, if Lane Hutson signs a deal before this YouTube video is public on the internet, then hey, I look like the ultimate fool, but that's ultimately a good thing, because Hutson, I think it's a lot more likely that he has a strong season than he doesn't, so you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section whether or not that is going to be a really big factor into this, but let me know as well how you feel about the negotiations going sour and just the latest from Elliotte Friedman as to how things look. What are your thoughts on the deferred money and the RCA, Lane Hutson and his representation not wanting to go that path? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button's down for you too. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate it if you got involved. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.